Hi, I'm Dr. Sherwana Davis, a psychotherapist, here to provide you with a review of Capote versus the Swans, episode 6. And this episode was really interesting to watch. If I were to sum it up, I would say this episode was really about two main things. It was about how Capote viewed aging and its relationship to relevancy, and the second part of it was really about what it was like to be a gay man in this period. So in the first part of these episode, it was really about Capote really struggling with the aging process, right? We know that he's very unhappy with his appearance. He believes that that hard lifestyle that he had been living with the alcohol consumption was a key contributor to some of the aging symbols that he expressed. And we saw this show up when he was at the surgeon's office, right? The doctor's office, and he talked about his eyes, and so they were looking at his eyes and referred to it as being full of like vodka, right? Because of just the toll that his drinking had had on his life and his appearance. We see him attempt to avoid the aging process and trying to capture some youth and relevancy. And this is symbolically held in the form of Rick. Rick was his great escape. And Rick was someone that came by his house because he had an issue with his garbage disposal in the kitchen. And so he hired someone to come in to do the repair. And so he, of course, is attracted to this person, who's very different from the Swans, right? He is someone that works with his hands. He is from a different class than the Swans. And so he is captivated by him. He's actually very nice looking as well. And so they begin this affair, right? This exploration. And so we see that Capote ends up on like his Harley Davidson, Rick's Harley Davidson, and they're going down the road to the next house. And so Capote's completely captivated by this person. This guy is everything that he wants to escape in this moment in his life as he's having this existential experience about his aging and relevancy. And so it works temporarily. And so we see him invite Rick to New York to meet with this elite class of people. And so we see Rick really, he's able to go in there and really kind of make it his own with these relationships. But we quickly find out, and Capote found out, that he really could not escape this question of aging, this question of relevancy. And it really hit him spot on one night, one evening when Rick was watching an episode of Love Boat, and he sees Andy Warhol on that episode, and he's confronted. Capote is with his own relevancy, and he's questioning it. And so, even with Rick, he can't escape for very long. So that relationship was very short. We know that Rick in this episode decides to leave because he's very much interested in going back to his prior life. And so that leaves Capote in the middle of really confronting his own relevancy all over again. And here he is being left behind. So that for him, we see it right up on the screen. We see someone really struggling with what does that mean for a person to be aging and to still strive for relevancy. The second part of the episode was really a good lesson in what it was like in that period of time for gay men, right? We see once again in this episode, we hear the Swans talking, in particular Lee, about Capote because he's in the middle of a lawsuit with someone that's suing him, and she uses a slur to describe them both. And so CZ in particular was really, offended by that. And so once again, that discussion takes place about how gay men are viewed, and we hear CZ and Babe talking about it. And in that period, they really were used as accessories, right? Viewed as accessories. They call them walkers. So these were men that they would use when their husbands weren't available or if they didn't have a male companion to escort them to different places. These men would literally walk them. And so once again, we're seeing through the eyes of these women how they actually viewed these gay men in their life. And Capote, of course, as we learned from the last episode, and he's reflecting again in this episode, he is keenly aware of this, right? And I think for him, it is painful because he wants to be much more than that. He does not want to be an accessory. He wants to be recognized as a full human being.
Right.
And so it was really interesting to watch him navigate this. And then we know that not only is he struggling with, this concept of being viewed as an accessory and easily disposable, we're also seeing him grapple with this as an aging gay man, which, it just puts more intensity on his experience that he is having. One of the things, this episode, I think, begs the question about how much has things really changed? Is that still a view for some people, right? In that inner circle, are they still viewed as these accessories, right? Or has things evolved and we recognize that human beings are human beings and they are worthy to a life well lived and not to be treated as someone's accessory? So anyway, let me know your thoughts about this episode. This series has been really great to watch and I am enjoying it. Let me know your thoughts.